How's it going, everybody? So I'm slightly tired, a little bit. But watch just got off the theaters watching the Captain Marvel movie. Um, it's like I don't have any words for it. I'm still absorbing it. I personally think, but again, who knows where Brie Larson was during the possibly appropriate timing. Excuse me. But I mean, again, I just thought to myself like, this movie's just poorly placed. It's very poorly placed. But like, cause I'm like, you get like the culmination, the climax of these characters, all the characters you grew up with, from like the Incredible Hulk, the remakes of the Hulk, to Captain America, Iron Man, all these things that's building up to one thing, and it kind of makes me wonder about the Iron Man movie, where it seemed to me to be like Tony Stark's idea of the Avengers Initiative, but then, I don't know. Let's just say it's a potential joint effort. Sorry, one moment. But yeah, movie is good. I liked it. I liked it. It had. I mean, there was stuff that was kind of surprising. There was a lot of surprising stuff. You know, that ending was very interesting, very anticlimactic, but it was still good. It was still good. And when I make this judgment call about the movie, I try my best to stay in universe, inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and not outside, where I judge. Oh well, the actress Brie Larson did X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, no, that doesn't matter to me at the current time when I'm judging a movie. Why? Because I mean, perhaps that influences her judgments, but it to me, it's not really an honest take on the movie itself. Her performance as I'm having a hard time on this remembering her name. Oh, Veer something. I forget her actual name. It kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy 13, even though her name's Claire Farron, and I'm like Charlize Theron. I mean that name is too close. It's like they're basically the same person. But yeah, I thought her character was very charming. Um, it's that weird relationship because it's like, as an audience member, and I haven't even watched the comics. I don't know how Marvel is. I don't know. I've heard, I actually seen it from a comic book, and I saw like a bit of a story, and I was like, and it turns out she's one of the strongest characters, Marvel characters. So it's like, oh, okay, this person requires some thinking. And then I'm glad in the movie it kind of ties it, where it's like she has her own business to do, and that's how it ties to this end game. She's just a busy hero doing her thing. And so for me, it's just like, great. This it's not too much of an issue. It's just one of those things that has to persist and keep growing. But I'm glad that the movie tied itself. Another last thing was just like, uh, I guess I find it interesting. Um, Other characters, Samuel Jackson did pretty good. Um, Brie Larson did pretty good. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, because you have like these species of the Kree versus the the Skrull, and you hear about the Kree in like Guardians of the Galaxy, and you hear about what's his name? Um, I forget his name. But he's like the judge in the first one, and he's like an underling under Thanos, and he's like basically uh trying to, I want not say please him, but in a sense, um prove his worth. But yeah, later on you learn about Drax, and how the Kree actually merciless, and they're like hyper orderly, to the point where they get rid of the stragglers, and after getting rid of the stragglers, they like try to preserve their own kind. From what I get, there seems to be a lot to them. But from what I understand, like, the Kree seem to be like not hyper nationalistic, but just hyper specious, you know, like. But again, this is my ignorant opinion of it. They just seem to be a very stiff-necked people. But the movie was good. It was, to me, it was actually surprising, because there was like gender violence, um, and to me that seemed to be a sense of equality. I don't really want to keep bringing these in-house, these out-of-universe issues, but um, it was a wild ride. Let's just say that for me, a wild ride. Um, a lot of stuff in there, and it wasn't really like preachy out of universe. It just kind of told a story. It subverted some narratives, but it still remained itself a superhero movie, which I was really happy to hear, because it wasn't trying to be more than what a Marvel movie is. And I'm not trying to say that as in like the Marvel movie standard is poor. I'm saying the Marvel movie standard is great. It's pretty high. Yeah. So I think that's great. And from what I remember, that uniform that she has is, at least the one we understand, is a modern take on Captain Marvel. From what I've heard, she's been revamped a few times. So I find that pretty cool. But ultimately, I think that's great. She's not like a Superman. I mean, she basically is a Superman, but she's not like brought in. Because at first I was thinking, if she's so powerful, why don't she just handle the issues so that Avengers wouldn't be there? But then it shows it at the end that she has her own thing she has to do, and that she'll be needed in an emergency. A very, very, very dire emergency, apparently. But from what I understand from Captain America, not Civil War, the Winter Soldier, is that the Earth's defense system, defense force or whatever, is enacting a bunch of not task force, but it's doing a lot of like um, personal insurance type stuff, like Earth insurance, Earth defenses. Yeah, let's call it that. And so, like, oops. When I hear that, like at first it was like this is kind of bad, but then when you see like not just in like the Avengers or things like that, you see like that's how I would like to see it, Avengers 2, but I would definitely like to see it after the Avengers, the Endgame. Why? Because we have this weird thing of I mean, I like to think so. It's a loyalty, an audience loyalty, and so I just met Captain Marvel and Brie Larson, and, and I'm pretty sure she's been in other movies outside of it. But just for me as a person, as a audience member, interacting with them, I'm like, I want to see more of these actresses. I want to see more. And then for the ones I've been acquainted with, how you doing? I want to continue to. Well, I mean, they might reach their end, I guess, maybe, possibly.
How's it going, good man?
Doing good, so. All right, good. But yeah, in terms of this movie was pretty good. It's again, I'm still kind of absorbing it. I've been kind of absorbing it, and I guess I might have to give another opinion, another review. But from so far, I don't have too much of an issue with it. It's just a lot of things. It's like a lot of twists and turns. Who is this person? Why is she doing this? How is she connecting to her self and stuff like that? It's almost like a coming of age story, almost, but for a new character that's already established in the Marvel universe. And from what I can understand, she's a very pivotal role in the Marvel universe. So I find that interesting. So I guess is that all? Could be all. Oh, sorry. Hey, how you doing? Could be all. At the end of it, I really couldn't even tell you after Endgame happens what else is gonna happen. I guess. But Stan Lee's left us a bunch, and I think that's another one. Stan Lee, he's gone, but he's definitely not forgotten. So a tribute. I guess there is one I do want to say, and it's a slight spoiler, But the Marvel logo, it's a tributary to Stan Lee. And I think that's very, very, very appropriate, I guess, because he just recently passed like a month ago, something like that, a few months ago, perhaps. But yeah, very, very tributary. And it always bothers me whenever I see these movies that I don't hear a standing ovation because he's the guy who made these characters. He's the guy who's a great influence over these characters. And it kind of makes me sad whenever people don't see him. I mean, they don't like give him that tributary understanding approval, you know. But that's just me, you know. I didn't even watch the comics, but after understanding like his hand in the comic, the Marvel universe, it's just it's sad because it feels like these people. It kind of reminds me of the Black Panther situation. They didn't really, and for me too, they didn't really watch it because of the Marvel ties. They watched it for their own personal out of universe experience for supporting a black character with all black cast, which for me is great. I'm glad to see that kind of representation, but at the same time, it's it's like it has to be in universe. It has to make sense in universe. And so it's like you're not really being appreciative of the source material. And I get the historical concepts and aspects, but uh, I think it doesn't do the actual comic justice. And I think that's just it's kind of saddening when you hear that like a movie, like for instance, even in this movie, Captain Marvel, if she, and again, I say this as like a Marvel, a MC universe, MC universe. Sorry,
No, I mean my middle finger.
I want to say like a MC universe. I'm sorry, I say this as the MC universe viewer. You know, is that it's kind of saddening to hear. Um, yeah, Marvel Cinematic. I'm sorry, I'm getting real distracted. There's a lot of stuff going on. But what I mean to say is that like it's great to have these influences out of universe, and that's great. You know, we should support more representation. But one of the things is that we have to have quality representation. You can't just have representation just cause. I think that's very poor display of representation. If you want to have decent representation, it has to be well done, well thought out, well written. You know, have a good story and stuff like that. You can't just say I'm black because I'm black. You know, and like just shove your representation past the characters. I think that's just it's not just rude, but it's like it doesn't make any sense. You know, if you want a black character, make him yourself. Make him build him in popularity. Have him have an engaging story. Teach him something that is interesting within the human experience, and if it's culturally tied, have that culture be shared, not just not be sacrificed, but to be shared with people outside of the culture as well as appreciated within. And so, Black Panther is great. I had to watch it again to see like filmmaking and all that. The film's the cinematic aspect, but um, people thought Killmonger was great. I thought he was, you know, he was upset. He was grimacing. He was making a lot of facial stuff, and it was kind of silly to me. Slightly, I liked it personally because of this historical significance of it, but because it just seemed like it was like something that was given as a love letter to African Americans rather than a person in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who was based off the comic sharing his love, his lore, with a person who's not familiar with the comics. And I'm again like Stan Lee's just one person. He's a Jewish man from what I remember. Like what does he know? I mean, he knows what he knows. He doesn't. I don't think he can come from a place of culture. I mean, he knows. Again, when I say I know, he knows what he knows. You know, I just mean he only knows what he's researched. You know, he only knows what he's put the time into understanding. And again, it's great. The Marvel Cinematic Universe modernized the people of Wakanda, where they're technologically advanced. Regardless of all this extra stuff people keep talking about, the social, the political, the economics, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, I personally wouldn't think about that if I thought about Doctor Doom owning the country. If I'm right, I believe he owns a country, and I'm not thinking too hard about him being a tyrant and him actually succeeding what is he, a dictator? And if I'm right, he's Marvel. It's just cinematic rights and licensing and what is it, intellectual property, IPs and stuff. So that's why we don't see him in the Avengers, from what I understand. But and that's why just recently you see Spider-Man because I'm pretty sure I can't remember like the details, but I know that we have Spider-Man for right now, and the Marvel they have the IP of Spider-Man now, or something to that degree. But yeah, going back to the movie, it was good. I have no problem with it. It has representation of women, but it has it like not respectfully. I guess you could say respectfully, but it has it with respect to the story. And again, regardless of what happened out of universe and our universe, the movie's universe was great. She had character, she had wit and stuff. It's just sometimes she came across as exceptionally witty past the situation to me. You know, she's funny, but it was like, should you be funny? You know, I don't know. To me, sometimes she came across as like Tony Starkish. You know, like someone with wit who has charisma. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't have charisma. Just saying that the situation sometimes didn't fit it at times. But if I give a rating, I'd say it's a 8. Definitely 8. When I first saw it, I was like, it's a 7. I'm leaning more so to a 8. Watch it in fullness and how it ties together and the funny, and it's not too funny where it's like, okay, get to the point. It's like, it's well done. Let's just say is that. So I guess that's it. All right.